Sweet mother of mercy, the Denver Broncos were just given some great news on the injury front before going into Baltimore to face the dreaded Baltimore Ravens. As we move out of Sean Payton's winningest month, which is the month of October, and we go into this month, which I think will be defined by Bo Nix. And from here on out, for the next 10, 15 years, all of us in Broncos country are going to call the month of November Bo-Vember. We're going to break all that down and way more in this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm Ben. I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan, and it helps me out a ton if you like the Broncos, if you would like and subscribe. So diving in here, this is certainly the best game of the entire NFL slate this week. It would have been flexed into the Sunday night game, but Baltimore already has the total number of primetime games they can have, and they play a quick turnaround game against the division rival Cincinnati Bengals just a few days afterwards. So it couldn't be flexed in, but the next greatest thing, I don't like that this graphic has Broncos country in red, but you can see why do they call it Broncos country? Because we're basically going to be on everybody's TV. We get the A announcers with Romo and Nance, and I think we are set for an absolute battle. This is one of the latest times in the season that you have ever had a number one defense and a number one offense clash against each other. And so you look at the Broncos come into this game with allowing the fewest yards per play against the team that gets the most yards per play. And so you're talking a defense travels. I'm insanely hyped about that. And on top of that, one of the biggest news of the day is that Lamar Jackson did not practice in today's game. So there's two situations here that could play out in what was going on here. First situation is that Lamar Jackson's actually hurt. There are several reports out there that are saying that he has a groin and a core injury and that he was grabbing down at that area after the loss to the Cleveland Browns. There are a lot of people who say that that's a bogus take, but this is from BaltimoreBanner.com. He's got screen grabs and stuff showing why he thinks that that is the case and that he is indeed hurt. But the other case for this is that simply they are looking past us. And despite the fact that they have a brand new wide receiver that they have to work in, who only has a few days of actual padded practice to learn this system before he goes up against the best cornerback trio in all of football, John Harbaugh was like, yeah, we're just giving him a rest game. So I think let's let it breathe. Let hear what he had to say about why Lamar Jackson didn't practice in this game against a playoff team.
Rest day. You know, he's been playing great, and we got a lot of football in front of us here. You know, we've got quick game, another big game coming up, so that was warranted today.
So, like you see here, Sire Bettinger, basically this is a disrespectful move that if it truly Lamar Jackson's totally healthy, basically they are already looking ahead to Thursday Night Football. They are looking past us, and you better believe that when we beat the Baltimore Ravens, you'll have people use this as the excuse because nobody wants to admit defeat here that the Broncos are actually a good team. And they'll say, oh, Baltimore's just looking forward to the week after their clash against the Cincinnati Bengals. Baltimore Ravens were wearing these sick uniforms that they are actually wearing for, I think I got it right here. Where is it? Yeah, so they're wearing the uniforms that they're wearing on Thursday night to practice, and it truly is like they are looking past us. So the good news about Lamar Jackson not playing is threefold. Either this is bulletin board material for this entire defense. Like, guys, we are the best defense in the league, and their quarterback thinks that he doesn't even need to practice to play against you. That's reason one. Reason two, if he really is hurt, that's good. The third reason why this is good news is that you were talking about he needs to build chemistry quickly because they truly only have one wide receiver who scares you whatsoever, and Pat Surtain is going to have him locked all day long. So either way, Lamar Jackson not playing is a great, great piece of news for this Denver Broncos team. And I think on top of that, like, we are not a team to look past that. Yes, we have had a couple pitiful offenses that we have shut down, and that's a great thing. But if you just take a look at, it's not even close how good our defense is. That the next best team when it comes to number of times they've pressured the quarterback is the Houston Texans, and they have almost had 20 less than us. And so it's going to be hard for any team to catch us when it comes to pressures, and a bulk of this was without our most talented edge rusher in Baron Browning. While Cooper stepped up, and I love him, and the rest of our defensive front is amazing, but if you'd asked Vance Joseph at the start of the year, which edge rusher do you have the most faith in, he would have said that it was Baron Browning, and he was on a 4-week IR and missed a lot of this. On top of this, we are entering into the month when we get to start having the conversation about, is Drew Sanders going to get any run as an edge rusher? And you've seen him practicing on the side field. He looks incredible. He was a third-round pick that a ton of people had faith in. And so we already have the most quarterback pressures, and it's not even close. And some of our most talented players are still going to be added into this fold. So I think that's an absolutely fantastic thing. As we take a look at what is the fallout of this game and what's going to happen, we had an insider come out and predict that he thinks there's a 50-50 chance that the Denver Broncos move on from Courtland Sutton. And so we will definitely be keeping our eyes on that situation, what it would take. We know the Broncos already said no to a third-round draft pick right before the season kicked off. And so I think anything less than that is an immediate no. And I think it would have to be a much bigger deal than that. The one thing with Courtland Sutton is that he is next year, he's under contract, but it's $20 million in dead cap hit if he starts the season under that contract. And so the Broncos are most likely going to need to renegotiate his contract. And if Sean Payton had any desire to do that, he probably would have done that this offseason. So it seems like Courtland is maybe not in his long-term plans, or we would have already done that. So you're hearing tons of rumors now about other big moves out there that the Denver Broncos could make, whether that be from a team that's spiraling, like getting Travis Etienne off of the Jaguars, getting one of the stud tight ends from either Cleveland Browns or the Jaguars, or the sneaky player that I think everyone in Broncos country would just lose their mind if somehow we could find a way to finagle and land him, would be to get Higgins from the Cincinnati Bengals. So as we are thinking about what team should I be rooting for this week in addition to our orange and blue, because y'all know we're rooting hard for that, I think the best thing that could happen this week in the NFL is let's root harder than we've ever rooted in our lives for the Vegas Raiders. Number one, that would prevent them from getting Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter, and it would just hurt my soul to have to see those guys wearing the Vegas black there. But if the Bengals lose, not only does it drop their chances of making the playoffs way out, I think they are much more inclined to move on from T. Higgins if they're essentially eliminated from the playoffs. So that would be fantastic. We got the Colts playing against the Vikings. We're going to root really hard for the Vikings as well, because if the Colts lose, that is just going to skyrocket this Broncos playoff chances right now. We're at like a 66% chance of making the playoffs. If we lose, it drops to 52. If we win, jumps up to 77. And so I think this is a very, very winnable game, especially if they are looking past us, already getting ready for that Thursday night football game. I feel very good about our defense if we can stop Derrick Henry, and we have stopped the run all year long, and I think that continues this week. The one thing to look out for, we need to see PJ Locke back in this defense. Devon Key did a great job stepping in and filling in for him out, but I feel way better about this defense to have PJ Locke back there, especially because the Ravens essentially have Derrick Henry, a great wide receiver, and then they have some tight ends who can kind of make some noise out there. And we know with the Brock Bowers game and just my whole history of rooting for the Broncos, tight ends have killed us. And so I would feel much better to have our starting safety out there rather than a guy that none of us were expecting to play meaningful minutes. But either way, it is a good time to be a Denver Broncos fan. We are 2 games over 500 heading into the month of Bo-Vember, where more and more chapters are going to be open for him, and we are going to make the playoffs and shock the world. And that's something we can all believe in.